It happened again this morning. I, woke up and I logged on using my phone still in the bed to check the comments and see which ones were still unapproved. My cousin does most of them, but I try to get in there when I can. So I'm looking at what she had approved yet, last night, and I'm looking at what still needs to be approved. And I saw a comment from a guy, and it said that my videos don't provide solutions for men. And I had to sit there and I thought about it. Of course, I fired off one of my bitch ass responses because that's what I do. But on the other hand, it made me think about how many times over the past, say, 10, 12 years, that on my blog talk show, on my blogs, on radio shows I've been on, and just of course here on YouTube, everywhere, my social media, the guys will see where I'm pointing out some areas where they're deficient, and instead of getting together and putting together a plan on how they're going to improve themselves, or eliminate those afflictions, or correct those behaviors, or come up with solutions on their own, they instead start bitching at me or other women and saying that we need to tell them what to do, we need to provide them with solutions, we need to come up with some answers for their problems. And that, it's always bothered me that black men respond in that manner, but I thought it was time to address it publicly, because these are the same guys who want black women to submit to them and treat them like kings and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, dudes, you're not in any kind of way, shape, or form prepared to lead a household or lead a family in any way. No way. Because you don't even have your own shit together. So if you're looking for a woman to provide you with answers for how to improve yourself, what that means is you're a lazy little fuck, because you don't even want to do the work. You just want to be somebody to tell you. It also means that you're putting this woman that you're looking for responses to, which in this case was me, or any other woman you're asking for assistance from like that, you're trying to put her in the position of being your mama. Okay, I have a daughter. I don't have no sons. And even if I did, I would not be babying him past the age of like 12. After that, I'm like, the way that I raised my daughter, at 12, she could do everything. She knew how to do stuff, and I finished it off with some financial planning information. So by the age of 14, 15, she was pretty much done. She was raised and grown. She could fix meals. She could do everything but for herself. And that to me is good parenting. Now, when you have grown men in their 20s, 30s, and 40s asking a woman to provide them with instruction and guidance on how to get their shit together, see, no, you don't cross the line. And this attitude is very similar to what is called the Peter Pan syndrome, which is basically based on a Latin word called pure. My pronunciation is maybe a little off because I'm not really good at Latin, but as I recall, it's pronounced Puer Aeturnus, okay? And the spelling is Pueraeturnus. It's a complex that has been, the acronym or the other association, the street name, let's use that word, is the Peter Pan syndrome. But basically what it means is that this person in Latin, that means eternal boy, eternal child. And what we have are a lot of black men who suffer from this syndrome. Now, there's a lot of theories about how men get that way. A lot of it has to do with being spoiled by their mothers, not being held accountable, not being made to be responsible. Mama covering for them and doing too fucking much. And there's a lot of women who do that, always making excuses for their son's errant behavior instead of digging in that ass. But so what you basically end up with are grown men who have this attitude that they expect, other women to treat them like children. Then we have a whole bunch of dudes online, if you notice, they want to bitch and moan about everything that happens for women. They want it to happen for them too. They want women to drive them around on dates. They want women to ask them for dates. They want women to pay. They want flowers. They want cards. Well, what about me? Well, what about men? So you notice the attitude is very infantile. Even their behaviors, like their responses to demands that they do things differently or treat women with a certain amount of decorum, it is met with resistance and temper tantrums, like a kid, like a little baby. So what kind of things would let you know that a guy is suffering from this complex of Puer Aeturnus? Basically, there's kind of a list, that will give you some ideas. So you're dating a dude, you might be married to a dude, or you're talking to a dude, you haven't really decided if you're going to date him yet. You might kind of compare his behavior and attitudes to some of these items on this checklist I put together. Okay, you will notice that he will put in like the bare minimum effort, right? Anything that you ask him to do or anything that he says he's going to do for himself, he's going to just do the bare fucking minimum, if that. And then say that, well, I tried. It's very disappointing for women to have a man like that in her life. I don't think these guys really understand how disappointing it is. And if you have a woman who's constantly disappointed in you, her love is not going to last too long, because it's going to be based on respect, of which you are losing on, minute by minute. They also don't seem to really have any real direction in their life. If you notice, you have guys in their mid-20s still kind of aimless, hanging around at clubs and hanging around on the corner and, hanging around on the stoop and just running the streets with their buddies, going here and there. But, ain't nobody got a job. Nobody's going to school. Nobody has a career path in place. Or if they did do all that, they're just kind of stuck. They work in some little basic job, and they don't really seem to show any signs of ambition. They don't read, they're not trying to educate their minds. They're not doing anything to advance themselves mentally, emotionally, or intellectually, spiritually, nothing. They're just like existing. Okay, you'll see that. You'll see that they'll be prone to, like I said earlier, to throwing tantrums, negative behavior, because they want to get attention or get their own way. And I've, kind of detailed that the other day when I talked about how they go onto women's threads and try to divert the conversation to themselves and their own agenda. That's exactly what that is. They're trying to get your attention, even if it has to be in the negative attention. They want attention, just like they used to do with their mama. Okay, they tend to be very impulsive. Not much planning and foresight in their lives. I don't deal with impulsive guys because, they'll try to pass it off by saying, well, you don't have any flexibility. I just like to do stuff spontaneously. I'm grown. I have my life planned out. You got to get in where you fit in. So you call me the same day talking about what you're doing today. Motherfucker, my day is booked. Tomorrow's booked too. You want to get on my calendar? We're looking at a few days to a week out. Very rarely, and only for certain people, will I, make a space. But if you ain't on that list, you better, you call me this weekend, you checking in for next weekend. That's how that works. Some of these dudes they tend to live in the past. If you notice, they talk a lot about the way things used to be, or how shit used to be, or how it could be like that again. A lot of fantasizing and romanticizing of things from the past and blowing them up to make them sound like they're all big and still, wonderful, and wouldn't it be great if we went back to that? Again, that's showing that your mind is not moving forward. You're stuck in the past. That's not, you know what I mean? You got to advance your mind. They also have a lot of a sense of entitlement. I know you ladies can identify with that. I mean, these dudes mad because, nobody give them no play. Nobody give them no time of day. Nobody give them no attention. Nobody give them no trim. Nobody want to cook for them and give them, not even have a conversation with them too much. And they're used to getting in their way and getting what they want because that's what their mother did. She overindulged them and made them feel special just by showing, just being her son. She's going to treat him like he's all, next to Jesus or some shit. When in reality, he ain't shit. He ain't about nothing. But she just, blew his head all up to make him think that he was great, grand, and wonderful just for breathing. And if you're a mother and you have noticed that you have done that, you have really done your child a disservice, because now his ass is useless. He's useless to women for sure, and he's useless to society, and he's useless to himself, and you did that. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. A lot of these dudes, they will avoid any kind of adult responsibilities. Like I was saying, the ripping and running the streets and not having a job, but it goes even further than that, because something as basic as cleaning up his space, washing his clothes, doing his own resume. I mean, he's looking for women to fill in all those blanks and do all of that stuff for him. So he ends up coming across like a kid once again, dependent on mommy or some mommy figure to take care of his life. They have a tendency also to be very emotionally stunted. And we've witnessed that being exhibited with a lot of the things that we see on these videos. They're basically, like I said yesterday, throwing a tantrum, but they're doing it, vertically, and they're doing it on a video, or on Blog Talk, or wherever they are. And that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, if you just put what they're saying and doing into the body of a 2-year-old laying on the floor, you can see where there's a correlation in their behavior. They tend to shift blame, which we know they do, because they want to make black women responsible for everything, including global warming. I mean, we do something. It's something that we did that made global warming happen. So, wars, everything, famine, floods, whatever it is, black women had it was our fault. That's how they are. And it's never anything to do with them. The community's not fucked up because of black men shooting and killing each other, abandoning their kids, running off and just acting stupid, getting themselves put in prison. I mean, nothing. Oh, that's not their fault. Somehow that's black women's fault because we destroyed the black community, so they say. Now, they take absolutely no responsibility and refuse to be accountable for their own behavior and those of their nephews and their sons and their grandsons and their cousins. They don't want to put them in check. Somehow that's a woman's responsibility. They have a strong need to belong. That's what I talk about, this group mentality, the gangbang mentality that they have. They will either join gangs or they run around in groups, right? You don't really see them too much by themselves. They always what they call boys. And there also is a group mentality with doing criminal things. And so they'll like 3, 4, 5, 10 of them will get together and do some bullshit, typically involving a woman. They very rarely do it by themselves. They always have to have somebody with them. And that's a very childish kind of thing too, because real men, like trees, stand alone. So you got somebody running around with the group, with this pack mentality. He's very emotionally stunted. These dudes also are very sensitive to rejection. And we've witnessed that too. And how do they get all in their feelings when you tell them no, or you're going to tell them that you're not going to allow them to treat you in a certain way? The first thing out of their mouths is a bunch of names. They want to call you kind of bitches and hoes and all kind of stuff like that. And some of them will go and want to beat on you, throw cans and bottles and sodas at you and things like that. And then and others will actually want to attack and or kill you because their little feelings are so fragile. Mommy never told them no. Mommy always gave them everything they wanted. Why won't you? You see where I'm going with this? They're very fragile with their self-esteem, very low self-esteem, very likely to respond with anger or actually even rage when they feel like they're being attacked in some way, which basically is just criticism of their behavior, which is that's what I do. It's like I can't stand it. So how do they respond? They want to call me all kinds of names, threaten all kind of shit. I mean, I'm so over it, it doesn't matter. I've been doing this for too many years now. I got like a steel coating on me because that shit just rolls off. I pay them no mind. But I see a lot of other women that get kind of somewhat terrified by those responses, and they don't really know how to handle it, even with their own husbands and boyfriends. There's this walking on eggshells feeling where they are afraid to criticize the guys, even when the guys are mistreating them they're mistreating with their behavior, or they're mistreating them financially and stuff of that nature. So as these guys, like I said, these guys are looking for direction. They're looking for someone to tell them to do. They don't understand that if you're going to get your sense of yourself as a man, that's going to come with some struggle. It's not something that you get to be just because you were born. It's not something you get to be just because you have a penis. There's a difference between a male and a man. And if men have certain things that they have to do in life, they have to accomplish certain goals, they have to present themselves socially in certain manner, they have to speak and treat other people with respect. There's a whole long list of things that make you qualify to be a man, and if you don't meet those standards, then you don't get to call yourself a man. You a wannabe. You a Peter Pan. You somebody who has never grown up, and you're still a kid. You're looking for some woman to give you direction, and everything. You're kind of like a narcissist. You think that you deserve all this stuff and that you're always wonderful, you're all great, grand, and wonderful just because you're breathing. And it's not like that in real life. You say that you want to you want to have a relationship, you want to have intimacy, you want to have commitment and all that kind of stuff. But, you come across as very shallow and cold and calculating, and it's just a turnoff to be with guys like this. They can't really be intimate because that requires courage. That requires a willingness to be hurt, because you got to let the walls down for love to come in. So hurt can come in with it, but you can't get the love unless you let the walls down and take the risk that you could be hurt as well. But you got these guys that have these romanticized views of relationships and marriage, and women of some 1920s virgin who wears an apron all the time or something. I don't know what they be thinking, but it's crazy to me. And the other thing about these guys is they tend to be very, get very bored quickly. They get bored because they're looking for other people to provide them with entertainment. You see some parents do that, how they're constantly in their kids' faces. They overschedule them with activities. The kids never get to daydream or never get to create. They never get to entertain themselves. That is a learned skill. So if you have a baby, leave your baby alone in the playpen and let them play with their toys or whatever, blocks and shit by themselves. You don't have to be there instructing them every goddamn second. If your kid's trying to go down the slide, you got a 2 or 3 or 4 year old want to go in the playground and go down the slide, keep an eye on them, certainly, because especially if you see some strange men around and you don't notice them with any kids, definitely keep close to your kid, but you don't have to go up the slide with them. Okay, I see mothers doing that. I want to snatch them bitches off and fling them to the ground. Let the kid go down. And so what? They fall down. They'll get up. That's part of childhood. That's how you learn to be tough. That's how you learn to roll with the punches. Everybody who has young children, please stop over babying them, especially if you have sons. Stop it. Let them get some knots upside the head. Let them fail. Let them get up on their own. Let them figure it out by themselves. That's the necessary course of action to develop maturity and to develop your sons into men. You can't keep babying the fuck out of them. And if they do something that's a criminal act and they hurt anybody else in your family, especially the other female children, call 911 and get their asses arrested. Don't stop all this covering for them. You're just letting them be, just develop this criminal mentality. And so what? They go to jail. That's where they belong, because they've done a crime. They've hurt someone. And you putting your kid, your criminal, victimizing, ass, fucked up kid over somebody else's child and their health and well-being. That's what you're doing. So especially if it's your daughter, you're basically telling your daughter that she ain't shit and that she can get hurt anytime, but you're going to protect your criminal ass son over her. That's what you're doing. So see, when we end up with these dudes, they just want to drink and gamble and smoke weed and play video games and do drugs and watch porn and do a whole bunch of other stuff that keeps their minds in a childlike fantasy state. You cannot let this happen to your sons. You've got to get them on the right track early. And if you dudes have yourselves you recognize yourself in any of the things that I've said earlier, you need to get yourself in order and fix it. It's not my job. So don't ask me to help you. Don't ask me for suggestions. Don't ask me to give you a plan to fix yourself. I've given you all the tools in my videos that if you listen to them and write down stuff and put the shit together, you can have a plan. But I'm not going to do that for you. You're going to have to do that work yourself. So between my blog on survivingdating.com and all these videos here, you can map out a very great plan for yourself to be the man that you always wanted to be, and to be the type of man that women will fight over. Okay, but y'all sitting up here bitching and moaning and complaining like toddlers about why women don't want you and stuff, because you're fucked up and you're acting like a kid. Unless a woman is into fucking children and she's like a pedophile, she's not going to be interested in you, because you can't have lust for an adult man who acts like a baby. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's a turnoff. So he's looking for a man that she can respect and admire and look up to. That's not you. So she's not going to choose you as long as you keep acting all stupid the way that you're acting right now. And like I said, you asking me to solve your problems for you, you're going to keep asking. It's going to be the last fuck I gave flying out over there, because as I tell you, fuck you, because it's not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. My job is to help women avoid dudes like you, to recognize the bullshit when they see it, and then to avoid you like the plague until you get your shit together. Deborah Cooper from survivingdating.com signing out.